This is Vargas back again with another DVD update. So, went to Movie Freak Bazaar. He had his weekly sale, and this is last week's weekly sale. Just went to pick it up, but I picked up a couple of albums from his classic album, and a couple of TV shows, and some CDs. So, first off, let's get started with a CD. This is Shakira Oral Fixation Volume 1. And I have Oral Fixation Volume 2. And I've criticized a lot of Shakira because when she started her career, I thought she was really good. She was a really good songwriter and a singer. But I don't know, as she got more mainstream, her songs didn't feel as unique. They felt a lot more commercial, which I guess happens to a lot of artists. But yeah, that still doesn't take away that she has a nice voice. Just it's not the same. I won't say the same quality. Then I picked up a soundtrack for a video game, and this is a really good looking soundtrack. Still sealed, brand new, and this is the soundtrack for Final Fantasy 15, which I have not played because I don't own a PlayStation 4. I only have a PlayStation 3, but I'm a fan of Final Fantasy. I really like all of the games that have come out. But 15 is the only one I have not played. But the one thing about Final Fantasy is that the music is always pretty solid, so really happy to have gotten that. Okay, on to the movies. I picked up in a nice little slipcover, which now I can't open. There we go. It has a slipcover, a nice metallic one, and this is Robots. I haven't picked this one up. It's from the people that made the Ice Age and stuff like that, but I remember seeing it, and I thought it was, not okay. The animation wasn't that good, and this is really early CG. But it's the Red Robot is voiced by Robin Williams. Every time I see it, I'm like, I gotta get it because Robin Williams is in it, and I am trying to get all of the Robin Williams movies. And so when I saw it on the slipcase, I decided to pick it up. Finally, pick it up, and this will all go to my Robin Williams collection. Then I picked up The Good Shepherd, movie starring and directed by Robert De Niro, with Angelina Jolie, Matt Damon, Robert De Niro, and it has a scene with Joe Pesci. I actually have not seen this movie, but I saw it because they mentioned in one of the Irishman little special things that they did. They mentioned that Joe Pesci hasn't been in the movie since this one, and I was like, wow, I actually haven't seen that one. So when Movie Bazaar had this one, I picked it up to see how good it is, and but it's supposed to be like in the early days of the CIA, so that sounds interesting. And then I picked this one up, and I apologize if there's any Macabro fans. He would normally do all the horror pickups, but he's in the same state of limbo like some of the other stuff in the house where we should be living in, but so until we go there and I'm able to do stuff with him, I'm talking about horror movies, or at least the horror movie pickups. And this is the Exorcism. This is Exorcism: The Possession of Gail Bowers, and this is made by the Asylum. So this is like this is the mockbuster of the Exorcism of Emily Rose. But the weird thing is that it has the Amityville house on the back, so that's weird. Then I picked up Avatar: The Last Airbender, Book 3, Fire, Volume 1. I really am a fan of the Avatar: The Last Airbender. I need to get more of these. I don't have the complete series. I don't even have a complete book. This is part 1. I have 2 and 3, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing part 4. But I want to get the complete series of Avatar because that was really good. Finally got this one. Super happy. I finally got a copy of this. And I've seen it once or twice, but every time I see it, it's the snapper case one, and the movie's always beat up to shit. This one's a really good copy, and it's Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. This is the second Batman movie based on the animated TV show after Mask of the Phantasm. They made three of these: Mask of the Phantasm, Sub-Zero, and then later on Mystery of the Batwoman. And then they did Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. So I have all of the original. With this one, I have all the original Batman animated series movies. I just need to really work on my Batman collection because I don't have a lot of the later on movies that came out. Picked up The Apparition. This one stars Sebastian Shaw, who's the Winter Soldier. Have not seen it. I have not heard good things about this one. I remember seeing the Cinema Snob do a review on this and saying it was really, really bad. But it was there, so I picked it up. This one I had no idea existed. I was surprised that there was a Pulse 2, which I picked up recently, and I hope I talked about it. But this is Pulse 3. Yeah, I had no idea that they did a 3 Pulse, American Pulse. This one is really good. I also want to get more DVDs of the series. So I'm a wrestling fan. I like wrestling. I like both American and Mexican luchador wrestling. And this one was a fun series, and it's Mucha Lucha. But this is the movie that came out, Mucha Lucha: The Return of El Malefico, and with Ricochet, Buena Girl, and the Flea. The Flea was really funny. The Flea, don't do that. This guy's the Flea. But this was really good. It based on the luchador culture, so this was pretty good. Well, I haven't seen this one. The cartoon was pretty good, but I haven't seen this movie. Looking forward to seeing that. This one, I've heard good things about it. I first heard about this movie from an old YouTube channel called the MacGuffin Podcast, which they haven't done anything in a while. But this one has Philip Seymour Hoffman, Ethan Hawke, and Marissa Tomei, and it's called Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. It's a crime thriller, but Philip Seymour Hoffman was always solid in anything he was in. So looking forward to this one. This one I picked up, but upon reading the back, see that it's a sequel. So I have to track down the original one, but it's Epoch Evolution. But I picked it up because it stars Billy D. Williams. I don't know anything about this one, but it looked cool. Then I picked up Kronk's New Groove. This is a sequel to The Emperor's New Groove. The Emperor's New Groove is a really, really funny Disney movie. Just really, really funny. And this is the sequel, the direct-to-video sequel that they made, starring Kronk. So hoping it is as good as the original one. Then pick this one up. It's a 2-disc set of An Affair to Remember, starring Cary Grant and Deborah Kerr. I've heard about this movie from different lists. I've never actually seen it. But he had this 50th anniversary 2-disc set with a whole bunch of special features. So I was like, I'll pick it up and finally see it and enjoy some special features. And also picked up the 3rd volume of Mystery Science Theater. This is Mystery Science Theater 3000 Collection Volume 3. And this one has The Atomic Brain, The Unearthly, The Side Hackers, and some shorts. So yeah, we're really getting into collecting Mystery Science Theater. I do want to get Volume 4, because that's the one that has Space Mutiny with Red Brown. And I want to get that one. And last thing I picked up from Movie Freak Bazaar is Star Trek Voyager, the last season, Season 7. And I started watching Voyager, and it was interesting. It wasn't like Next Generation. It wasn't as good as Next Generation, and it wasn't like Deep Space Nine. But it had some good episodes. Then I remember I skipped seeing it religiously. And I started watching the reruns, but then I got hooked back into it around season 4, the end of season 4, and from season 5, 6, and 7, because that's when they reintroduced the Borg. They were traveling back to the Alpha Quadrant, and they came across the Borg, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start watching Voyager again, because the Borg is one of my favorite Star Trek villains. And just the visual, the concept of them is really, really fascinating to me, and I really like the Borg as villains. And of course, this season, Voyager introduced 7 of 9, Jerry Ryan, who's like smoking hot in this. But I would like to get season 5 and 6, which is the ones that are centered around the Borg, and 7 of 9. And the last 2 movies I picked up are movies that I genuinely forgot existed. You know me, I collect actors and directors and actresses and genres and everything. And I have a Stallone collection going. And I check my movie list to see what I'm missing. And I'm missing some of his really early stuff like Rhinestone, Fists, and the one that he plays like a Jimmy Hoffa character, and a whole bunch of his newer stuff. But I'm always checking the list and always checking the list, and I didn't have this one on the list because I completely forgot that this even existed. But this is Oscar, starring Sylvester Stallone. It's a gangster comedy that he did with the director of Animal House, Trading Places, and Coming to America, John Landis. And it has Tim Curry. It also has I read somewhere that it has Marissa Tomei's first movie. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, completely forgot this movie even existed until, like I said, I found it and I bought it. But because the only Stallone comedy I have there is Rhinestone, which I'm missing, and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Those are the 2 ones that I was missing until I saw this, and I was like, what the hell? Oh, that's right, he did do this, and it's not good. But I don't have it, so I picked it up. And the other one I forgot existed is this one with Robert Downey Jr. called Chances Are, where Robert Downey Jr. is playing this reporter, but he gets killed, and then he goes to heaven, but then he escapes heaven, is reincarnated on Earth, but he has all his memories. So, he remembers the old wife he had, but he's dating his wife's daughter, which is not his daughter, because she remarried. I think she remarried and had a daughter. And so yeah, it's really weird Robert Downey Jr. movie, but I picked it up and I got it. So yeah. So like always, you know me, I like to recommend the standout of the haul that I got, and I'm going to recommend 2 cartoons, Batman and Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero. This is really good, and this is before the New Adventures of Batman, where it got really dark, and Mucha Lucha. If you're a wrestling fan or a luchador wrestling fan like I am, you'll get a kick out of Mucha Lucha. I don't know how easily available the cartoon is, but if you can track down some episodes of Mucha Lucha, I highly recommend them. They're really good. Okay, so that was last week's haul on DVDs. I'll see you in a bit because I'm going to record this week's DVD haul. So until then, thanks so much for watching, and take care, guys. Bye.